Hey there, it's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
Are you going to be watching the debate between President Biden and former President Donald Trump? It's happening this Thursday, but there's some rules that you probably need to know about that you may not have known about. It's going to be televised on CNN, simulcasted on several other networks, including Fox, but there are some interesting things that will be happening. There's no audience. There will be no audience. Only Jake Tapper and Dana Bash from CNN. So, two CNN news anchors who have obviously given their opinion about Trump in the past, they are going to be moderating the debate. Also, there will be no props. Each candidate is not allowed to hold anything or use anything. And the big one is that their microphones will be on when they're speaking, when they're asked a question, but when they're not asked a question or addressed, their microphones will be turned off. What do you think about this? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if you'll be watching.
I know I'll be watching. Will you be watching? Let me know down in the comments if you're going to be watching. I think it's totally interesting that it's going to be done by CNN, by two anchors who have obviously been very one-sided, but typically is a little one-sided when the host is concerned, but I do hope that it's fair. As far as turning off the mics, because we all remember the last one, right? I don't think that's going to work. If Trump has something he wants to say, my boy's going to say it. My main concern, unfortunately, in this situation is what's going to happen with Biden. Because all the hubbub has been about him being so old and possibly having dementia. I mean, this is what is being said on the news as of the last couple days.
These mock debates, this is going to include a 90-minute formal debate where the president is standing up on his feet the entire time, trying to mirror what he's going to have to do in real time next week.
Here's the thing. Where I am, a majority of the news broadcasting stations are pretty left-leaning. We got a couple that are right, but otherwise it's pretty democratic. I mean, it's California after all. But I got this information from more than one news outlet. They're basically saying he's going to go practice standing up for 90 minutes, which is not very favorable of their candidate considering, you know, all of the stuff that's been going on lately with his age and his, falling down. So I think it's sad that they're throwing their own guy under the bus. Hey, thanks so much for stopping by today. If you're having a good time, please hit that like button and consider subscribing. And then come back tomorrow, because I'm making a new video every day.
The FBI did not have an adequate basis on which to launch Crossfire Hurricane, correct?
That's correct.
The FBI failed to examine all available exculpatory evidence, correct?
Correct.
FBI leadership continued the investigation even when case agents were unable to verify the evidence, correct?
That's correct.
The FBI did not interview key witnesses in Crossfire Hurricane, correct?
Correct.
And individuals within the FBI abused their authority under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, correct?
Correct.
I'm pretty well aware of the whole Russia collusion investigation and all of that stuff, but I didn't know it was called Operation Crossfire Hurricane. I'm sure that's just what it got dubbed. But what irritates the hell out of me is that no matter who wins the presidency, the opposing party is doing this crap. They're there having congressional hearings with FBI and CIA and your mom and your mom's neighbor and their gardener. Why? Because they have to find something on this president to get him out. Whatever party it is, the opposing party is doing that. And it's insane. And it's a ridiculous waste of money because all day, every single day for the entire term of that president, we have congressmen, CIA, FBI, all of these higher up politicians are busy. That is their job security. They know that mama's, nephews, cousins, dogs, walkers, gardener doesn't have anything to do with anything, but they need to ask them all of the questions to make sure that they're getting paid, which is egregious. It is an egregious waste of taxpayer money, and I think something should be done about it. That's crap.
Just one day after a Russian sub showed up in Cuba, the U.S. Southern Command announced that its fast attack submarine, the USS Helena, arrived in Guantanamo Bay. Now the announcement itself is unusual. The nuclear-powered sub is part of the Navy's so-called silent service, something that's typically kept a secret.
Remember when, like, 2 weeks ago, the lady that stands there and talks out of her face about the president and stuff? What is that, the White House spokesperson? Oh no, there's no concern about this. No concern at all. It's just going to be some exercises. They got a thing going on with Cuba, and then we take one of our top secret submarines and send it to Cuba. Oh yeah, no, nothing's going on. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Tonight, a dangerous new pact between two of America's staunchest adversaries, with promises to defend one another against aggression by the U.S. and its allies. The agreement comes after Kim Jong-un eagerly welcomed Vladimir Putin to Pyongyang. Huge crowds filling the capital's main square, while goose-stepping North Korean soldiers paraded before the two leaders. The agreement signed after hours of face-to-face meetings, a clear reward for Kim providing Russia with hundreds of thousands of artillery rounds and missiles for the war in Ukraine. Putin calling this a breakthrough document between the two countries, which he said raises the relationship to a new level and backing what he called Kim's right to strengthen its own defense capability, adding that Russia did not exclude the development of military technical cooperation.
Meanwhile, that's what's happening. Yeah. It's interesting, right? So he sends over some ships down to Cuba to do some military exercises while he's over, rubbing elbows with Mr. Kim Jong-un. Yeah. But don't worry, we made a strategic move after that as well.
The nuclear-powered United States Navy aircraft carrier, the USS Theodore Roosevelt, has arrived in South Korea's port of Busan, demonstrating Washington's commitment to its regional allies. This comes as the United States, South Korea, and Japan released a joint statement condemning the deepening military ties between North Korea and Russia. The Roosevelt's arrival precedes planned trilateral military exercises between the three nations in the waters near the Korean peninsula. These Freedom Edge exercises were agreed upon by the defense chiefs of the United States, South Korea, and Japan before Russian President Vladimir Putin's high-profile visit to Pyongyang last week. The strongly worded joint statement from the U.S., South Korea, and Japan expresses grave concern over the new strategic partnership between North Korea and Russia that emerged from Putin's trip. This includes a mutual defense pact and Putin's threat to arm North Korea if South Korea provides military aid to Ukraine. The presence of the Roosevelt and its carrier strike group demonstrates the Allies' resolve to respond to the evolving security threat from North Korea. This follows recent joint military drills, including the first U.S. Air Force B-1B bomber live-fire exercises on the peninsula in 7 years. The movement of the Roosevelt to the Middle East next week, leaving only one U.S. carrier in the Indo-Pacific region temporarily, underscores the complex geopolitical dynamics at play. The three partners are clearly united in their condemnation of the deepening North Korea-Russia ties and their commitment to regional stability.
You want to put some ships down here in Cuba? We got ships to send to Cuba. You want to go play nicey-nicey with Kim Jong-un over in North Korea? We got ships to send over to South Korea. Things certainly are getting a little heated though, aren't they? Getting weird. There's also been some military movement within the states. And no, I'm not talking about those shipping containers. I'm not talking about them anymore. Not today, anyway.
That's Switzerland.
Man, that's boo-boo fucking thing.
This next one sees them all mobilizing in Louisiana. And I know New Orleans is down in Louisiana, but this could be anywhere in Louisiana. And there's different stuff on this train. Okay, I am well aware that military equipment is oftentimes moved by rail. I know this. This is not a surprise to me. But with all of the other videos that I have seen and even showed you leading up to this point, it's kind of interesting that our equipment is mobile right now, right? So is it going east or is it coming west? And if it is coming west, what military base are they going to go to? I know there's a bunch of them out here. Or are they coming here to protect something? My money's on they're going east, because isn't Cuba over there in that direction? So, I don't think they need to mount a counteroffensive on land if Putin sent over 4 ships that are doing things on Cuba. But still. I don't know. Have you noticed any of the military mobilized right now? Do you know anybody that's in the military? Is anybody on high alert? What's going on, y'all? Or have I been watching too many TikTok videos today?
So the truth is finally out. East Palestine, Ohio, we finally have an update after a year of people being sick and the whole 9 yards. But before I get to the truth, who remembers this?
This all comes after people in Mahoning County reported smelling the effects of the burning. You might have as well. Overnight, First News got you an update from EMA officials. They say the air sampling done in Mahoning County did not show any reportable levels of contaminants. They say nothing is toxic or dangerous.
Or this.
So far, they've had no detection of contaminants, either outside or in the specific homes where they've been asked to monitor.
No, it's completely safe. I remember the videos of people throwing stones in a lake, and you could see the chemicals up top, and they were coming out saying, no, totally safe. It's not going to harm you at all. We're burning it off so it could be safe, and we're putting all these chemicals in the atmosphere because of safe, yet we're going to complain about global warming and climate change and ruining the environment, yet we're burning chemicals. And then guess what? Company comes out, NTSB comes out and says the company that makes the shit says there was no reason to do that. Then guess what? They say 16 states were affected. Then guess what? They say that they burned and put in the atmosphere was actually used as a weapon in World War I. Totally safe and effective, though, and no signs of any contaminants or anybody getting sick. That's all bullshit. That's all conspiracy theory. You remember that? That was conspiracy. Why is it that a year, 2 years, 3 years later, with every one of these news stories, the truth finally comes out, and it says that these people lied to your face to begin with, yet we never hold them accountable? They get to lie to us. The media gets to lie to you on a day-to-day basis. They never get in trouble. The government gets to do this. They poisoned 16 states. Who's held accountable for this? Oh, they're blaming it all on the southern stuff? Come on. Stop it. Once again, yet another example of being told one thing, and then a year, 2 years later, the truth finally comes out, and you realize that these people fuck everything up. Everything.
It's been what, like a year and a half now since that train derailment? Man, a year and a half of government agencies lying and go, oh yeah, everything's fine, don't worry. And these big companies, no, it's fine, don't worry about it. This is not fine. This is 16 states. My goodness. And these freaking agencies, they just lie. We can't trust the government. You can't trust the government when it comes down to something as little as this. I know it's not little, it's huge, but something like this, what else are you lying about?
Edgar Case's Doomsday Map. Do you know that the billionaires are building doomsday bunkers all of a sudden? According to this map. Inspired by Edgar Case's prophetic map, a future Earth, reshaped by disaster, with only the elite prepared in shelters designed for survival. Is this paranoia, or do they know something we don't? to name few billionaires: Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and Peter Thiel, etc.
I'm pretty sure I've shared that map on this channel before. I do think that that is definitely a possibility as well, but it would be after the polar shift, after the whole twisting of the land masses and everything. So instead of it being like this on the map, it's going to be like that, and our poles, the north and south poles, will be here going this way. But that's just what I think. Billionaires aren't just building bunkers on the land parts of these maps.
Have you guys seen the Doomsday map? Basically, like if there's a giant cataclysm event that happens on Earth and parts of the world floods and like all the sea levels rise, they came out with a map that looks like this. It looks like 40% of Florida is gone. But this lady, she took the map of the farmland that Bill Gates has been buying and overlaid it onto this Doomsday map. Every single dry land piece was occupied by his farmland. For instance, so California is basically completely underwater.
Yeah.
But there's these little pockets of islands. See those? That little one right there, that's one of his farmlands.
Yep.
And like that compared to like Zuckerberg, because on this Doomsday map, Hawaii is completely fine. New Zealand actually grows bigger and connects to Australia. But all these billionaires that are building bunkers and then buying up farmland, that all correlates with like these high points in America and around the world. It's super creepy.
Well, what do you know? Mr. Bill Gates over there buying up all this farmland on this property that is on this map. I don't know. Is it a coincidence? You tell me. I'm going to call it for today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Enjoy the debate tonight if you're going to watch it. If not, enjoy not watching it. And come on back tomorrow because we're going to watch some new stuff. I'll say different things, and it's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.